Okay, Rinpoche. Okay, Rinpoche, we're live now.
Okay. You know.
Yes, sir. Zanzarava dan Juji Shaba dan Jesu Yeran Kurkin Surava Gewa Jonsi Dake Jesa Badan Jedake Sanjo Sirmo Sake Fuji Zoji Meto Jangrera Linke Nede Jimba Sanje Shinde Mevde Purva Yendo Pinonda Shinde Chobar Shuya Senji Namje Samba Dan Loye Sebra Cheta Vara Chechon Demo Depa Chujian Kolo Gorda
Bardo Dojin Jomar Muchata Lama Kama Chiku Kujuji, Senji Pachi, Dan Dojin on Yama. The Leponja Jandala, Bardo Juku, that which joins other Zola Marambuche, Breaking Canada. Kadajabana just on the Buzundo, the soul, and the Sangay from the Yamanga, and the Sangay from the Soba. Zola Machala, the Dazu Duel, Chola, Rojo the Dube, from the college, I don't know, there are some other ranges on us, so there, and the Jung didn't get a Lomarkan. There's a long thing that the Chichaba, somebody about them to chair, I like it, another doing it, to Tubunda, he can draw up when you dug it, Tamjara, can go dug it to go on and Betata, you can send Tamja, Anna, Toba, Sangi, Gobarum, which is not Gobracha, dated with Chantucho to took it, the Sambacho, Talakan, Savage. Bardo worship a cups of Papa. Hello, everybody there. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to everybody to share and learn about the importance of Bardo. And we're going to have extensive a long Bardo discussion, and hopefully after this session, after this Bardo teachings, you will know a lot about Bardo, and not just that you will learn, most importantly that you will apply into your daily life. And I know the importance of this Bardo teaching about Bardo, and I think and this is one of the reasons why I've been thinking to share this Bardo teachings with you all. Actually, many years ago, I did taught on Bardo several times in different countries. That was based on Bardo Todo by Karma Lingpa. And this is the Bardo that which I'm going to share with you is based on Ngang Chiden by Tabu Tashidamjel, and also Karma Shinta, which literally means karma carrot, or by Karma Chilipa. And also I managed to listen to Bardo teaching by second Drupa His Holiness. So actually I got all this information which I'm going to share with you from these sources. And of course, you know, all this source of these discussion comes from Dojit Sekang by Naropa and also Kape. So that's what I'm going to share with you. I'm so happy that somehow we have managed to have this opportunity to learn about Bardo and share with you all. Bardo is very unique. This is only probably known in Tantrayana. So it is very unique. And now what Bardo means. Bardo means between this life and next life, and before you take another birth. So between this life and the life after. So between is called Bardo. And in fact, technically speaking, we are also in Bardo, not beings in Bardo, but we are indeed in Bardo. So we call beings when they leave this body, before they acquire another body, obtain another body, we call them Bardo beings. Probably beings in the Bardo, they may call, oh, these are Bardo beings, call us Bardo beings. So in that way, actually, nothing wrong. We are also in some sort of, some kind of Bardo of this life. No reason why it is important. If it is not going to happen, that is, there's no urgency to discuss of Bardo, and there's no reason why we should worry about Bardo. This is not about not happening. It's about when it's going to happen. So there are a lot of uncertainties in terms of time movement. It can happen anytime because life is unpredictable. So we need to be always prepared. We have to be ahead of our challenges. This is how where we can be successful in our path. And I know sometimes it's difficult to believe that, there may be people who think that there's no such called Bardo. The simple reason is nobody has seen Bardo and nobody has come back from Bardo. We don't hear from ordinary people that, oh, I visited Bardo, I came back from Bardo. There's no, such story. But of course, then there are bodhisattvas, who could see the life in Bardo. So Bardo is not something, it's not there, it is there. Logically proving, suppose someone is born today, when someone is born today, and you cannot convince such person there was yesterday. Can you prove to someone who has not been born just today? And also, logically speaking, nobody has been to tomorrow, yet to come. It is something yet to happen. So in this case, we cannot say that there's no tomorrow, but there is tomorrow. See, similarly, Bardo is something is there, and we have to be prepared ahead, because Jenny could be very, very staturous. We are actually walking into uncharted territory. We don't know what is going to happen. So best option for us is not the only option, is to learn about this life, the journey. Okay, so it is very, very important. So the Bardo teaching is like about sharing map with you all. So if you have a clear map of whichever city that you're going to visit, you know exactly where to go, how to go, and the places that you want to visit. So everything is very clear to us. So similarly, when you learn from now, we will exactly know what we need to do, what we need to prepare. Otherwise, when you're in Bardo, suddenly you want to know about Bardo would be difficult and impossible, actually, impossible. So it is very important. And, we have prepared actually in January, I also put a lot of work in this Bardo text, so they have translated into English. Actually, we work together. So I'd like to thank everybody who involved in this project. Of course, all the Tilenobo and our new translator, Kutira, and Lama Jimmy and others for helping to prepare all necessary arrangements. And this Bardo, we have prepared such a way that the first step is to explain what Bardo means and what we need to do. And in the second step or final step will be how to apply all the Bardo teaching in this life, you know. So I think it's something that we should learn, and I hope you will learn a lot from here, from this discussion. But I'm only afraid that next time you may call my name Bardo Rinpoche, yeah? My nickname Bardo Rinpoche if I talk much about Bardo. Anyway, just kidding. So let's go to the main discussion, okay? Basically, you know, Bardo, you know, what you learn from Bardo Todo, then terms of number is the same. You know, like in Bardo Todo, we have a Bardo of this life, Bardo of dream, Bardo of meditation, Bardo of movement before death, Bardo of existence, and Bardo of becoming. I should slow down. I know I need to slow down. Many complain that I'm speaking too fast. Anyway, slow down. And among all these six, what is important? There are three Bardos. Bardo moment, Bardo moment before death. Okay. So this is very, very important. So when you reach that moment and through your practice, this could also known for first Bardo, if you are able to recognize the luminosity, then you attain Dharmakaya, Bardo moment before death. Okay, and somehow if you miss the chances, then we will enter the second Bardo, which is called Bardo of existence. And that's the time you rise in the form of illusionary body. And if you're able to do that successfully, then you acquire the body of Sambhogakaya. Somehow, you know, if you miss the chance, then the final Bardo of becoming, then you will acquire the Nirmanakaya. Okay. So these are the three basically important Bardos. So among all these three Bardos, the most important Bardo is the Bardo of existence. This is where all the actions are happening. You know, all the actions are taking place. So this Bardo, you may call it action-packed Bardo. Okay. Now I have actually, you know, written small, a few verses, you know, about why Bardo discussion is important. So, you know, according to Bardo Todo, you know, the benefits of which bit different. The number could be the say 6, but the way Bardo is not because very unique and it's very, very profound. The reason is that by simply listening or by reading or by looking at, you know, you can attain a liberation. That's what Bardo Todo says. Indeed, like probably you may have heard, you know, our Kamapas, all the Kamapas starting from first Kamapa. You know, there is a ceremony called Black Hat ceremony, and the actual black hat is made of 100,000 Dakinis here, and only who is so lucky, fortunate, who have, you know, accumulated so much of merit, able to see the actual one, and somehow one of the emperor from China was able to see, and then his request, the present black hat, which is worn by successive Kamapas, you know, this is the black hat that even like the benefits, you know, like anybody who is able to see that black blessing of black hat, we will be liberated. It's called total, you know, total chimba. Tongdol Chamber. We call it Tongdol Chamber. And also, if you have read Bardo Todo, you may come across saying that even person with so much of act of non-virtue can be liberated. So it is very, very profound. And it is like showing the sacred door, not going through the normal procedure. Then you'll be stopped if you are cultivating the act of non-virtue. So you'll be stopped going to nirvana or pure land. But here there's a sacred way to go to nirvana. But then again, it's not simple as we put it. There are many practices are involved. These are some of the benefits that why it is so profound. Okay, so it's very profound teaching, and this is not just hardcore discussion. It's not about only next life. It is also about this life. You will learn more about how to make this life meaningful, not only about next life. So we shouldn't take for granted. We shouldn't think, oh, Bardo told her about someone about to die. But the problem is we don't know when we're going to die, when this moment will come. So we need to be prepared from now. Person with intelligence, person with so much of wisdom, I think this is the moment that we need to spend a lot of time to learn about Bardo and practice about Bardo. I think this is very, very important. So if you know about Bardo, if you learn about Bardo and all the teaching important point, if you apply into our life from now on, so when you are in Bardo, you are able to cross all the hurdles and then reborn in Pure Land, or if possible to attend Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirvanakaya, at least, if not, to reborn in many Pure Lands, or to acquire, again, to be human being, to continue with your journey. So it is very important. So because the reason why we need to practice now, because when you're in Bardo, it becomes very, very difficult. Like for instance, when you, sometimes when you hear this thunder noise, when there's a lightning, there's so much of noise, roaring noise, we all get frightened, But the Bardo will be 100,000 times more. So there's so much of fear and happening, and you are constantly pushed by all this karmic wind. So very, very little chance that we have a time to practice. So this is the time, like we can ask, we can learn, we can improve, but in Bardo, there's no such time. So there is no luxury of time in Bardo. So this is the moment. We are in the good place, so we need to start learning from now. And of course, one cannot say that you should spend all your time to the practice. That is impossible to say. But we need to arrange our time, manage our time, how to spend chunkable time to practice. If we have that will, we can. So it is very, very important. So if you wish to secure not only this life, but even next life, I think this is the moment, this is the time, and this it, we need to practice. So physically, mentally, verbally, we need to put a lot of effort to make sure that we are learning about Bardo, and why, for this reason, why Bardo is so important. So as I mentioned earlier, it's big different from what you hear from Bardo Todo. This is according to Milarepa, one of the most accomplished yogi in Tibet. Everybody knows about Milarepa, yeah? So Milarepa says basically, there are like Bardo between samsara and nirvana. That's the first one. And Bardo of moment we are Bardo of natural Bardo, part of the Bardo, and a Bardo from now until we attain nirvana, and Bardo now and we die. That's the third one. And Bardo of dream or sleep, whatever you call it, the fourth one. And Bardo of existence, and finally the Bardo becoming. So these are 6 different Bardo, which Milarepa has actually said. But then again, there are some like 8, 9 Bardo. So anyway, our focus will be on this Bardo, and most importantly, the whole or all our discussion will be based on the Bardo of existence. So let me go back to the first Bardo, which is called Bardo of samsara to nirvana. Bardo of samsara to nirvana. So from now on until we become a Buddhahood, this is also Bardo. So this shows that we are in Bardo. So we can, beings in Bardo. No, the beings in Bardo may say, you are in Bardo. In fact, technically speaking, we are in Bardo. Hello, Bardo beings. No, we are all Bardo in Bardo beings. We are all Bardo friends. So in Bardo of samsara to nirvana, in this Bardo, what we need to do, what has to be done. So this is something that we need to do. Bardo of samsara to nirvana, in this Bardo, of course, we have to prepare the ground. It is very, very important. Yeah, we cannot just, without learning anything, just start to learn Mahamudra. That will be kind of joke. That never happened. Without going through all these academic studies, like standard school, schooling, you cannot just attend university classes. That would be not possible. So what is important here is, like, of course, going through all the basic foundations. And then eventually when the student is qualified, the teacher, the qualified teacher, will actually point out the true meaning of Mahamudra, true meaning of Mahamudra, what Mahamudra means. Okay, so basically, Mahamudra means, let me explain just briefly. Maha means there's no above. Mud means it's like Mahamudra means big, a big palm. If you have a big palm, so if you put big palm on anything, everything will be covered. There's nothing will be out of that big palm. So similarly, there is no such thing from samsara to nirvana. There's no such thing which is not, which does not cover by the meaning of Mahamudra. That's what Mahamudra is. Okay, so giving proper instruction about Mahamudra. So once you receive instruction, when you are prepare, or when you fulfilling all the requirements, that is very important. So now here, this is showing. So the right view, showing the right view is very, very important. Basically, not falling into nihilism or internalism. So like everything from samsara to nirvana, it is, in terms of nature, it is empty. Yeah, and it is not just empty; it is luminous. So having this view, this unshakable view, having this as a foundation, then you need to build up. Now, the second part though, which explains Bardo of nature of Bardo, nature of Bardo of path, nature of Bardo of the path, nature of Bardo of the path. What this means? So now this means, So this about meditation. So this refer to a individual, okay, individual who enter the path. You know, there are three different individuals. First is like ordinary human being, full of emotion, full of negativities, okay? And then the bodhisattvas who has some to certain degree eradicated all the defilement to a certain extent and acquire whatever the knowledge, okay? And of course, ultimately the Buddha. So, so a person who enters in order to practice the Bardo, nature Bardo of the path, one has to introduce, point out, we call it the truth or essence to true nature of mind, true nature of mind, or the wisdom or whatever you may call it, Mahamudra, whatever you call it. So it has to be point out to the person, to the practitioner, the path forward. So in order to recognize the truth as it is explained, it is pointed out to the students are encouraged to practice whispering lineage. Whispering, of course, in Kagyu, mainly in Kagyu, there's the most extensive whispering lineage comes from Rechungpa. And if you say in the middle, then Bumzang Nyenju, and then Sumong Nyenju, Tapu Nyenju is the most condensed one, which is also called Sumo Nyenju, which is the combination of all three, or the essence of three, So it will be introduced not just immediately, okay? One has to go through all the requirements. It's just jumping into practice doesn't liberate us. We have to know how to practice. Unless we are there through our right effort with the guidance of a qualified teacher, and when we progress in terms of learning, then we will be introduced to Nyenju practices. Now, this is the second part. Now coming to the third Bardo, we call Bardo of this life and until we die. Bardo between birth and death. We call Bardo between birth and death. So now in this Bardo, first one was Bardo of Samsara to Nirvana is about view, and then Bardo of nature, Bardo of the path about meditation. Now this is about the conduct. Bardo of birth and death. It's about conduct. Now, initially when we embrace the practice, we need to overcome all the hurdles. Like each time, the higher you go, the more hurdle you tend to face. Each time when you overcome hurdle and you make progress. Once you stabilize your practice, and just remaining where you are doesn't make all. That's what about the practice is about. So we call it zoljo. So we need to practice. So one may say manifestation of mind or mental display or mental energy, whatever you would call it. Here, we need to actually make great progress through conduct. Okay, this is required. So now, what kind of conduct we are referring to? We are referring to conduct here, mainly engage in the practice of completion and generation state. there are two kinds of different practices which are equally very important for any practitioner. Anyway, for your information, I finished on book on this we call it Chizo Nedu, about Cherim and Zorin practices. Is going to come soon, so you will have it. So I will, advise, or I will encourage you to read. You will learn a lot about all this Cherim practices or Zorin practices. Okay, so one has to make a lot of effort into two different practices: generation stage and completion stage. Okay, so this is what is required. Now, so basically, Bardo of birth and death is the first Bardo, which is when you count 3 Bardo. Now, dream Bardo is the second Bardo. Dream Bardo of dream is the Bardo of dreaming and sleeping, or Bardo of dream or sleep. This is the second Bardo, but here is the fourth Bardo. Yeah, fourth Bardo. So basically, in Tantrayana, whatever you're doing has to be meaningful. This I've been always saying, like Melarapa rightly said, we need to actually, our life has to be living practice. So even sleep, of course, when you sleep, we nurture our physical body. Yeah? When you sleep, we get rested, so it protects our well-being, physical and mental well-being. So it is very, very important. Other than there's nothing much of a benefit, but too much sleeping is not so good. I heard people sleeping like 10 hours. That's too long. And I came across somewhere that if you sleep too long, it will shorten your life. So I know many of you might sleep so long, particularly in Asia. I've seen people sleeping very late, going very late to sleep and waking up very early. But sleeping late is also maybe not so good physically for your well-being. But sleeping is important. Now, why there's such called sleeping your Bardo? Whatever that you dream, most of the time, that what you have done during the daytime. So it is your habitual tendency, whatever that imprint in your mind that tend to occur in your dream. So other for ordinary people, there's no meaning. That's it. Sleeping is just good for health. That's all. But when you start to embrace the practice of dream yoga, what happens is like you are able to even make your sleep so meaningful. Of course, this one we cannot go into detail, but just giving an overall picture. There are some guru, they're able to travel to like Pure Land, different Pure Lands, to visit different Buddhas, visit teaching, and come back. Especially I think during this COVID lockdown, I think this will be one of the best things to do. Yeah, just fall asleep, then you travel to all the different places. You don't have to worry about all the tickets and booking, nothing. Just go there. So now, how we practice. Of course, this is something you have to learn gradually. Not now. I'm just giving overall picture. But then I have to admit something. I have to say to you clearly. It is not easy said than done. It is difficult to practice. Okay, there's a lot of training required to really be successful in such practices. When, according to many texts, when luminosity arises, you go to deep dream. Between this sleep and before you start to dream, between this moment, the luminosity, you will experience luminosity, but then we are not trained in luminosity, so we don't know. For us is everything one line, flat, sleep, that's all. There's not much of difference. So during the thick sleep, you you practice luminosity and luminosity, and then when you wake up, that is the time you wake up yourself as a form of deity. It's called illusionary body. So this is something that you actually, most of the individual who go for 3 years retreat, and there are certain requirement, certain we call it in ordinary term prerequisite. Yeah, before you start to take master courses, you need to fulfill all the requirements. No. So similarly, there's so many requirements to fulfill before you can practice. So anyway, there's something for your information, so there's such practice. Okay, that's something you can learn in future. Okay. So now coming for the fifth Bardo, which is the Bardo of existence. And during this Bardo, what happens is, I said this is the Bardo that action-packed Bardo. Everything is happening here. When you when you recognize luminosity, you attend Dharmakaya, and then when you form the luminosity, from the sleep dim, when you wake up, you wake up in the illusionary body, and that's the that is the time. I mean, when you start to dream, that's the time you practice illusionary body. Okay, and then of course, eventually, then when you somehow fail to attend all this different body, Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya, then you acquire Nirmanakaya. So basically, this is the Bardo to acquire three kayas. Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya is the body of wisdom, which we cannot see, body of attention, body of realization. And Sambhogakaya is actually the reflection of Dharmakaya, to benefit bodhisattvas who are in 10 level, like Tara, Bonsiposa, with all the ornaments. They are all in Sambhogakaya form. Okay, bodhisattvas who are in 10 gun. And finally, Nimanakaya, like Buddha Shakyamuni, and Nimana comes in many different forms. Sometime according to many life story of great yogis, mention that they come in the form of trees, some as bridges. So it's not definite where they're going to reborn as what. They will say according to how they can benefit others. Like you can read the life story of great master for many different lineages. It's amazing, and it's not that there's no standardized way of doing things. Everything is very unique and up to what we require. How Bodhisattva has to appear as our requirement. So that's called Nirmanakaya. And after acquiring three different bodies, then you reborn in three different pure lamp of respective three different kaya, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya. Okay. And finally, coming to the Bardo of becoming, Bardo of becoming, So what happens is like, I know it becomes very difficult for someone to acquire Dhammakaya, even Sambhogakaya. Probably not easy also to attend Nirmanakaya. But at least we have to base our hope the highest. Okay, our goal should be the highest. But at the same time, we have to prepare somehow, some way. If we are not managed to acquire all these bodies, then we have to pray to deities. This is where our practice comes very handy. So in Bardo, your Guru Yoga practice, your Yidam practice, all these practices plays a very important role to shape your partner. So it's not just you have practiced for this life. Actually, this is more helpful when we in Bardo. Actually, when you go further down, you will know why it is so important to to practice now. Our daily practices plays a very, very important role. So there will be a moment comes when we need to reborn. Somehow due to our karmic wind, will be pushed. Okay, you need to reborn. You need to reborn, and you start to seeing things, And then due to our karmic effect, you may choose even not so good places. Okay, and this is where your yidam practice, your guru practice, help us to stop to reborn in all these realms, but to reborn in Pure Land, such as Amitabha Pure Land. There are many other pures. Okay, that will be the first choices. Somehow, due to even if we've not managed to secure the seat, the ticket to reborn in all this Pure Land, then we, am I talking too fast? I'm not sure. We have to, choose where we're going to reborn. Of course, as a Buddhist, it is always said that you have to choose where there's a Buddhism. Even even though country is not a Buddhist country, you may choose your family as a Buddhist, or any where that you can be meaningful, not only to oneself, but to all others. That is most important. You can't choose, oh, if I reborn there, or there's such a beautiful castle, or they have a beautiful car, or there's so much money, I should be there. That will be wrong. Okay, that will be wrong. So even though not much of luxury, but if you think that by reborning in such a place, in such a family, if I can be helpful to others, this will be the most meaningful thing to do when you start to choose different places. Okay, this is something to remember. Now, somehow I've discussed briefly about the all the six different Bardos, and our main focus, as I mentioned in the beginning, the Bardo of existence. This is where everything is happening, and I have actually prepared so much of materials. So each teachings, you're going to have a lot of homework. You can go back and study, review, and then you can come back to me. I can help you to clarify. So in the future, then we will come up with a very good book. So I have put a lot of effort. In fact, a lot of effort to make sure that this will be helpful to you all. Helpful. Otherwise, you may say, "Oh, I've studied Bardo from so and so Rinpoche, but now everything is gone." That will be not right. Oh, I've learned something, now I know something, and I'm ready to face any eventualities, anything that I have to face, I'm ready to face. So if you are confident, it will be, I think, really good. That is the purpose of life. And here, I have actually explained briefly about what illusionary body means and what luminosity means. I have not gone into so much of detail because these are very profound teaching. So it will be wrong or not advisable to teach such teaching deep and lengthy. So, but then when you talk so much of luminosity and so much of illusionary body, then what is that? What Rinpoche is saying? If someone who has never heard, so at least I need to give over a picture. Oh, that's what it means. Okay, I don't have to know a lot. Okay, oh, that's what it means. Luminosity. This is what illusory body means. So, so whatever that I've shared with you, and I based on text, many different texts. It's not something that I somehow managed to soup from the air, So I'm confident that what I'm saying is wrong. I'm not coming from somewhere middle of the year, So that is very, very important in Tantra and following the lineage, following the tradition, I think in West and in particularly in Tibet, I think it's very different. In West, when you start to write academic essays, plagiarism is a very serious issue. Yeah, then you can be failed. But then in particularly in you may say in Buddhism, many texts are like shared by many gurus, not just actually rearrange the text, but sometimes it's just whole text is copied down. So there's nothing wrong. So that's something that you have to learn. Otherwise, you may say, how come you are coughing so many from here and there? That's not the case. Now, coming to the main discussion, okay? So, what is called illusionary body? Generally speaking, what is illusionary body? Like according to Buddhism, okay, like from samsara, where we are, we may call it home sweet home, but this is where all the action, all the difficulties, like are present. Samsara until nirvana. There's nothing in terms of substance, in terms of nature, nothing has inherently existence. Okay, so it is empty in nature, such as it's like illusion. That's the reason we call it illusionary body. Okay, the illusionary body, if you exemplify, such as dream, such as echo, or rainbow, what you see in the sky. Dream will be one of the best examples that can actually help us to understand. There's a body, but not made of any forms of substance. Okay, but so therefore it is not real. The moment when you wake up, whatever you may have dreamed could be meaningful, beautiful, precious, whatever. The moment when you wake up, there's nothing that you can hold on. So it is called illusion. Okay, so what happens, like we learned during the 4 yogas, okay, when you go to bed, you dissolve everything into oneself dissolve into emptiness, okay, then you go to sleep, and when you wake up morning, you again instantly rise in the form of deity, like fish jumping out of water. Okay, this is what we call illusionary body. Now, there's an actual illusionary body and approximate illusionary body. So that's 2 things you have to understand. What is actual illusionary body? This is according to many guru. Many guru had stated that through this extraordinary practice of tulkor, yoga, when you are able to channel your wind inside, dissolve into your heart, and so then what happened is like 4 emptiness, and this is the final emptiness, which is called everything empty. Okay, or empty, and from this emptiness, mind is wind is mind, so they are inseparable. So from this inseparable form of mind and wind, again from this emptiness, you rise in the form of deities. So this is called actual illusionary body. Okay, actual illusionary body, and this is something you just for information to get a general picture of what illusionary body means. But we can't go into detail about this practice because you need to complete so many requirements. So don't think about this practice now. You just need to follow what you do. There are so many practices that you can practice now, and this is something you can plan in the future. Okay, but then there's nothing wrong to think that from now on that my life is like illusion. That is important. My life is like illusion, and illusion means no substance, no meaning. It's just my life is empty, like a dream. Dream is empty. There's no meaning to dream. Nothing we can acquire from the dream. And then, of course, then when you're in Bardo, when you practice, when you consolidate, when you build on, solidify such practices from now, so when you're in Bardo, you say, oh, Bardo is illusion. So when you see Bardo is illusion, all the fear that you experience in Bardo, you are able to overcome. Because in Bardo, constantly you are threatened by so many karmic effects, ill effects. So this is so important. To be successful in Bardo, you have to be successful in meditation now about illusion. And dream can be your very good support to see life as an illusion and to know Bardo is an illusion. That is very, very important. Okay? And the second part is like approximate illusion is like not depending on the yoga, but simply through the wind or Talung practice. You are able to channel all the wind to the central main channel, and then from there again, you will arise in the form of deity, like in dream, like a fish jumping out of the river or ocean or water, whatever you may call it. So I'm just giving you simple explanation so you know what we are talking about. Otherwise, it's like bringing a child inside the big temple, big hall. The child may not know anything. That just it may get dazed and like amazed with so many images. So that kind of feeling, or you may get lost. So at least I'm giving you. So I think could be a helpful way to understand. Hopefully you are still with me. I hope it's not so difficult. I know this discussion, we cannot make a lot of jokes because the topic itself is very serious. So we have to be serious, okay? Sometimes, we can laugh, there's no problem, okay? No need to pay, you can just laugh, that's okay. Okay? So now we are coming to the luminosity, where I like to keep it here for today. Luminosity. So this what Maitreya Buddha said, what is mind? Mind is luminous. The self nature of mind is empty. The characteristics of mind is luminous, and the appearance of the mind is spontaneous. So luminosity. So luminosity is omnipresent. So everything is present. And empty yet luminous, luminous yet empty. This is like we call it mother-like luminosity, and you will come across when we go further down. And then through the guru's instruction, through your effort and through the process of your practice, when you recognize the luminosity, it just when Guru pointed out, when you're able to recognize this called sunlight luminosity. So when the mother-like sunlight merge together, then you are liberated. Okay. So here, luminosity basis. There are three kinds of luminosity: foundation, luminosity of foundation, luminosity of path, and luminosity of the fruit. So, according to the text, Kameshing that says, not children, what do you call Nelu Wasal? We call it Nelu Wasal. It is the luminosity of natural state. Okay, this is called Nelu Wasal. Then we have dream luminosity of sleep, luminosity of which appear before before you die, you know. Before you know, when everything, all the elements dissolve one after another, we will come across when you go further down. This is the time the luminosity appears, and if you are well practiced now, and then you are able to recognize, then you attend Dharma time. Okay, so you're going to have a lot of discussion about this coming. Okay, this is the luminosity. You know, you meditate or you don't meditate, or you recognize or you don't recognize. You know, this will appear to everybody, because the moment is so quick that we tend to, you know, just pass. You know, just pass. We are not able to recognize. Okay, and now what is called the general luminosity or the luminosity of path. So knowing everything, there's nothing in terms of truth, nothing inherently. There's no substance that exists which has a solid existence, inherently existent. There's nothing. Everything is term of nature. It is empty. So the realization of such view is called general luminosity. General luminosity. Okay, just understanding. You know, so luminosity. What luminosity means? It means free from darkness, which is not obscured by all this emotion, which is the nature or the truth of everything. You know, so when you say mind is luminous, it's not just empty, but there is so much there. You know, luminosity also has like empty luminosity and luminosity in many forms, which all the deities, actually what you see, they are in the form of luminosity. You know? So there are many different luminosity. And what is the hidden luminosity? Again, similarly, like through the inner yoga, yoga or auto yoga, yoga helps to dissolve the wind into central channel, and that is the time you will experience the fourth emptiness. They are just empty and profoundly empty, and I don't know, large empty or a huge emptiness, and then everything is empty. You know? So there are four different emptiness. Anyway, we're going to go. We will cross these discussions, you know, when you go further down, or through the practice of inner yoga, then you experience joy, and in it born what we call this co-emergent joy, which is the highest amount of joy. When you experience that joy, that very moment when you come to recognition of that joy or the truth, this is called profound or hidden luminosity. Okay, and then it comes the third luminosity, which is called explanatory luminosity, which is like, like there's dualism involved. Like now, whatever this is the emptiness, this is happiness, and I'm the one that experience this emptiness or this bliss, the feeling, experience of bliss, So as long as we have this, the circle of this object and object perceived dualism, is called what do you call it earlier? Exemplified luminosity, exemplified luminosity, and then when these, of course, not now. When you reach higher level, then there's a dualism, this circle of object and object perceiver. Like now we think that, oh, this is what object is, this is who I am, and my action, I'm seeing like you, So three circles is involved. And what happens, like Bodhisattva, all this dualism dissolve. This circle, the function of three circles dissolve, and this is the time that Bodhisattva will experience the true luminosity, okay? And of course, luminosity, which is experienced by Buddha who is in him, is normal learning luminosity, which is the luminosity of the fruit, the highest luminosity. So I think this is where I like to live here tonight, because I think I've shared so much of information with you, and I know sometimes can be very, very difficult, when it's too profound. But anyway, I will help you through the Bardo discussion. Probably we're going to have a long discussion, probably at least 8 to 10 sessions, So I'm going to make sure this time that, you will really learn about Bardo, not just you learn, but you will apply it to certain degree, okay? That is what is my plan is. And so every day you will have a material in our Zoom, our website, there's all the material. Then we will also post on Facebook. A lot of information, and in the short time, I'm trying to squeeze everything. It's not so easy, but don't worry, we will go through one by one, so you will learn more. Okay, so let's have question and answer.
Okay, Rinpoche. So first question is, does someone who reaches the Dharmakaya stage while in the Bardo have the same 10 powers as the Buddhists?
You have to say, but there are certain explanation, yeah, you have to say they will have like Buddhas, but sometimes due to cultivation of merit, you may not able to, see immediately all the qualities, but they do present, they do present. One has to say that, otherwise it's not Dharmakaya. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, how do we?
If I'm not wrong, yeah, that's what I heard, came across. This question had been asked after 40 years ago when I was still studying. This question came up. Okay, yes.
How do we choose to be reborn as man or a woman in the Bardo?
There's no such practice to choose man or woman, because in Buddhism there's no such discrimination. Okay, there is actually. If you are going to reborn as a male, then you will love your mother and you hate your father. If you're going to reborn as a female, you're going to hate your mother and you're going to love your father. That's, I think, that shows that you're going to reborn either male or female. Yes.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Can Rinpoche please explain about the emptiness that can be realized on the path of application, or the path of accumulation?
Well, can you say that again?
Rinpoche, can you please explain the emptiness that can be realized on the path of application or path of accumulation? I think so.
We are all in path of accumulation. Yeah. So our emptiness is just not even very close. We are just playing through manipulating through words. We are trying to just understand through words. Yeah, that's what is experienced by individual in path of accumulation. Path of application is like through itself is like Jola means like before you actually realize emptiness, you feel the heat. Like when somebody cooks delicious food, we all become hungry because the smell. So you can smell, so what is cooking? Yeah. So that's the difference.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, when we're near death, is it useful to recite mantras? And does it depend on the yidam for which your yidam for which mantra is useful? And is it useful to imagine ourselves as a yidam?
I think your yidam practice plays a very, very important role. So, it's not for this life, even for next life, whichever yidam that you are practicing. Actually, we will, when you go further, then we will have more explanation. So, you can visualize yourself as a yidam, recite the mantra of your yidam. Like for instance, like, when you're about to born as a human being, then you will see that, your parents, okay? Parents, and then instead of seeing as an ordinary parent, then you can visualize them in the form of yidam. That's how a way to stop to reborn in human realm. So yidam practice, recitation of mantra can be very, very important.
Rinpoche, does doing poa by a guru for a deceased person, if a guru does a poa for a deceased person, will he or she go to Amitabha Pure Land?
It's a good question, but hard to say. Hopefully you will go. It depends also who's doing poa, but definitely it will help. Definitely it will help. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard a story from somewhere from Lhasa, the people who actually cremate bodies, and this guy was saying to some people, who I came to know, through someone that I heard that, the bodies were brought to cemetery, where they cremated. They were saying that, like, all the bodies seem to have a poa sign, that there's a blood flowing down, or there's a skull broken, or there. So most of the time, I think poa is successful, So, but this is something we believe will be successful. But it also depends on the practice. It is important, not just relying on one protection, but also relying on yourself.
Okay, so also there's some Chinese questions in the chat. So if Kutira, the translator, if you can translate for me into English in the chat, that would be good. Or if someone can, if in the chat, if they can translate, that would be great, and I'll read those. So I think the first one, Rinpoche, will we be liberated if we can remember a mantra like Om Mani Padme Hum while in the Bardo of becoming?
Definitely it will help, and you'll be in, that's what it says, your yidam practice. So what happens when you're able to focus in your yidam practice, guru yoga practices, this will definitely help. Even though you may not become a Buddha, but at least you'll be liberated and reborn in higher realms. You won't be continuously going through all the Bardo stages,
Thank you, Rinpoche. So, Rinpoche, can you elaborate on how we visualize for the Guru Yoga? In Guru Yoga, how do we visualize? What should we focus on in that practice?
There's a, there's a text, depends on what kind of Guru Yoga that you are practicing. So you just follow the text. So basically, you visualize Guru on your crown, and then Guru will melt into light, dissolve, and then sometimes Guru comes to your heart and reside in your heart. So depending on the text, what the text says.
And then Rinpoche, there's a request for you to give a lung on liberation through hearing mantra, the long mantra. So in the mantra's there in the Q&A, the first one.
So I think maybe I can give next time, because I'm not sure where this mantra coming. So let me think about this next time. Okay, we have a lot of time.
Yes. Then another question, Rinpoche, how does it work when you are in the Bardo because you were very ill and dying, and then you come back? So if you go into, so here's the question, Rinpoche, if you are dying and then you go into the Bardo and then you come back, what Bardo were you in? So near-death experience, Rinpoche, what Bardo is that?
What's that? Can you say again?
So Rinpoche, do you know how people, when they're dying in the hospital, and then sometimes they go and then they say, oh, I saw all these appearances. What Bardo is that? But then they come back.
Probably you may have not reached real Bardo. Maybe you're on a way to Bardo. So luckily you managed to come back. Probably you may be a Bardo, but this is a difficult question, you know. Almost you're in Bardo, yeah.
On the doorstep.
You're maybe a woman in Bardo, you know, possible, you know. So what is the question actually?
Yeah, so Rinpoche, you know the stories, they leave their body when they're in a hospital because they nearly died, but then they come back to their body. So their mind leaves and then the mind comes back and then they survive and then they tell the story. This is quite common nowadays.
Yeah. We call it in Tibetan, we call it delo.
Delo, yeah.
Delo, yeah. Many, you know, yeah, it's sort of like Bardo, yeah.
Mm.
They say, oh, you still have your valid date is still not expired. You'll go back.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Rinpoche. Next question, Rinpoche, is how should we deal with the bardo of dying in general when one has a very strong attachment to your body, to our body?
This will be the problem, you know. So that's the reason from now on you have to see your body. You know, attachment is a problem. Your body is not a problem, and we have to look around our surrounding. There's nothing called permanent. Everybody has to go through the same highway, you know. So one day, you know, as many Kadampa master always explain to us, to see Bardo, our life as a dream, as our body as a guest house and ourselves as a guest, you know. So I think this will be meaningful, I think. The question. You have a Facebook? I think.
Yes, I'm asking from Facebook as well, Rinpoche.
Okay.
Last one was about, we can do Facebook here. Rinpoche, now that we know it's important to practice the Bardo teachings, but we could just die without really any accomplishment. If we were to die very soon without being able to practice these teachings, what is the best thing to do?
You know, without, you know, I think your Yidam practice is very, very important. You know, Yidam practice is part of the Bardo beneficial for the Bardo journey. Yeah? Yidam practice is very, very Guru Yoga. All these practices are very, very important. And to have an unshakable belief and devotion to all the day, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Yeah?
Okay, there's lots of questions, so I'll slowly go through them.
Okay.
What is the best way to close the entrance to the womb in the Bardo if you have missed the other chances before?
You know, that's why, you know, like, you know, praying constantly, you know, focus, visualize oneself as a deity, you know, oneself as a deity. And then like, you will always see, where, like, suppose you're going to reborn, if you're going to reborn as a human being, and then you will see, you know, the intercourse with the mother and father. So then again, you visualize them as a deity, you know? So there's a way of trying to block entering mother's womb, yeah. But then sometimes, you know, if our karmic effect is too strong, then you may have to reborn. When you have to reborn, then you have to choose the place. So that's what it's, you know. You know, so always we have to always have a second plan. This, if the first plan doesn't work, then we have to look forward to, you know, for the second plan.
Rinpoche, people are asking for when is the second class on Bardo? When is the second teaching?
We haven't finished the first one yet.
Yeah. So next week, same time, right, Rinpoche?
Yeah, next week. We'll keep posting. I think this will go for another at least 8 weeks, huh? So by then you will know a lot about Bardo, and you will also have a lot of material to rely on. So simply not just listening. So unfortunately, we couldn't translate everything into Chinese this time, but we will translate and post. Okay.
So Rinpoche, another question is, if we have POA, if we didn't have a long time to practice, if we didn't really do much practice, but we have POA, does it still help, the POA?
Or if I think I will advise, how, why it is so important. And I think why it is important. And I think you must put some effort from now on, just don't rely on POA, okay?
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Don't just rely on last resort, okay? You always have to have a backup plan.
So
But then, of course,
oh, sorry, Rinpoche. Yes, please continue.
of course, if we are lucky, if we are forward conducted by, like such as all the His Holiness Karmapa, such as His Holiness, all the His Holiness, His Holiness Dalai Lama, so you'll be very fortunate, and but also, doesn't have to be someone very well known. Can be someone who you may not know, just simple monk who are good in forward, or someone who is good in forward can also help you. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Greatly.
So Rinpoche, this question is about reading the Bardo Tudro to someone who's deceased. And the question is, each day when you're reading, do you read the whole text to them? Or do you, for example, on the 8th day, start from the 8th day, read to the end?
Actually, until the body is present, they say you have to read Bardo Tudro, Tudro, yeah. You have to read that Bardo practice. And actually, I'm going to give you a long, also it's sort of like Bardo Molam by second, His Holiness second Drupa His Holiness, Drupa second Drupa His Holiness. And this also at the end, I will give you a long and also explanation. It's about 2-3 pages. This also can be recited as a Bardo. It's called Bardo Molam.
Thank you, Rinpoche. So Rinpoche, they are asking for the email address that they can reach you on. So should I put the email address in the?
Yeah. We address,
So I will put the email address in the chat right now.
Okay.
Layu21@gmail.com. This email you can contact Rinpoche on and ask the questions, and you will get an answer. Right, Rinpoche, is that correct? Do you see? Layu21@gmail.com. So back to the questions. Okay, so still many questions, Rinpoche. So
Yeah, no problem.
So Rinpoche, you said that this life where experience is a dream, like a dream. Does that mean like all the feelings and emotions we experience are meaningless?
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
why? So Rinpoche, if the life is just a dream, and then why do we have to focus on the next instead of enjoying the now? So if everything is meaningless, why can't we just enjoy life now?
Everything is meaningless in terms of nature, but then while you're still confused, if you do not do the right thing, then you have to face the consequences. Like for instance, dream is illusion. While you dream, we can have a very scary, frightening dream, and then how can you be helped in such situation? By knowing that dream is not not real. So all your fear dissolve. That happens. Occasionally. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure about everybody, but sometimes you tend to have this experience. Like in dream, you have the nightmare, and suddenly the moment come. Okay, this is not real. This is an illusion. Then everything just fear is gone. But what your question is good. But one thing you have to know. As long as we are confused, okay. What we are saying is like in terms of essence, there's nothing is real. Everything is illusion. Okay. But until we realize it's an illusion, like dream, you may do something, commit more bad karma, and your illusion continues. So practice is to break this circle of suffering. So a practice is important. It's like, okay, like saying that, okay, in order to cross the river, you need a boat, But once you reach other side of the river, boat becomes useless, But you cannot say boat is useless because I can reach other side. Then you don't need a boat, But you need a boat to cross the other side. So similarly, in order to, even though everything is unreal, but to realize unreal, attain realization of unreal, and to break this cyclic of confusion, we have to depend on the practice. Otherwise, just your nightmare continuously, you will continuously experience your nightmares. I don't know. Did I answer the question, Daniel?
Yes, I think very nice, Rinpoche. Thank you. Thank you.
It was not clear. Let me know.
Yes, Rinpoche, it's very clear. Rinpoche, the question is next question is how to practice dream yoga.
Oh, this is something that I think we should learn later. I think we should focus on whatever practices such as your rhythm practice. You can learn about Bardo there, but these are, I think, very profound discussion, and without proper qualification, I think it's not good for me to share. Also, it's not good for you to listen. I think this is something that we can learn gradually when time comes. That's the reason why I just want to give you just brief overall picture, but I think we shouldn't go into detail because it will not help us. Otherwise, I will commit the crime of breaking one of the samaya, like bringing everything out to public.
Yeah. So Rinpoche, I think the next question is very similar. So maybe same answer. It was the question is, I'll still read. Can Rinpoche give a step by step about how to recognize luminosity in our sleep? What to look for when in the moments before dreams occur?
I think this will be not straightforward practice. I think this needs a lot of guidance. So I think what you need to do is whatever you're practicing now, just focus on and try to improve on what you're practicing. Okay, this is something we can learn about future. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like for instance, the practice of Signor yoga and all this yogas. I was told even many gurus say that even monks without proper qualification can't practice and see how they are practicing, and even so sacred. And today, unfortunately, due to advancement in technology, you see everything in YouTube, which is not good. I think I think for me, I will have a lot of reservation, but this is nothing to do with democracy or authoritarian. This is something to do with what is the requirement. Yeah.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, this is an interesting question. the deceased person, when you read in the Bardo Turdo, can they understand English or Tibetan or all the languages? Well, how do they understand?
Oh, they carry Google Translation. No, when they're in Bardo, they even can read what you're thinking. And language is just a tool, not the true language they will understand, but what you're thinking, they will understand. So your sincerity becomes more important than what you read. In through words, you may be saying, "Oh, we love you, we're sad," but inside your words, you're good, you're dead. I get everything. So then that will not help. The person will know everything inwardly. So that is most important. I think because Bardo beings are like 9 times more intelligent, 7 times or 9 times more intelligent us, so they don't have to depend on words. They will surely read what you're thinking. So careful.
Thank you, Rinpoche. This is a question. Someone was in hospital after a COVID problem. They had COVID illness. And then in that time, they were very clueless. They forgot they're even a Buddhist, and they forgot the practice. And so at such times, in such condition, what is effective? What is practical to do in these times?
Oh, when somebody is in the bed, isn't it?
Yeah, it's when someone is very sick and dying and they forgot they're even a Buddhist, Rinpoche. What can they do, or what can someone do?
What you can do is like without any in gentle way, you can just recite mantra close to the ear, recite mantra. So deeply, I think physically they may not able to react, but actually they are very clear inside, And a lot of people actually said that, when they're in coma, physically they can't move, they can't, react, but actually they exactly know what we are doing, So if you say something, pray gently, this will definitely help them.
Thank you, Rinpoche. And someone just let me know that the email didn't come up on Facebook or mobile device. So we'll put the link on Facebook chat as well, so people can get it there. Okay, so Rinpoche, this person said they were alone, but Rinpoche, and no one is there.
What?
This person, when they had a COVID attack, they were alone and no one else is there. So what? So they couldn't. No one could help them. So they did. So what is beneficial for them at that time? So previous practice helps Rinpoche at that time?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Even though nobody is there, but depends on how this person is thinking about practice. That really counts, Being there also doesn't help, I think depends on the person, if the person is able to remember practice, connect to practice of his or her daily life, I think this will definitely help.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, someone's asking, will the Buddha return to the world again when he enters into nirvana and into silence?
Buddha, there will be 1,000 Buddhas coming. Buddha Shakya number 4. So we still have a long way to go. 1,000 Buddha. So there are many aeons, there will be no Buddha, but many aeons, there will be 10,000 Buddha, 20,000, so many Buddha coming, but different aeons, But I don't think Buddha Shakya will come back again as like a Buddha and go through all his activities. But there will be another material Buddha is coming, the 5th in that line, yeah?
Thank you, Rinpoche. People are asking if the recordings will be available. So yes, we will put them on Rinpoche's website. So that will come up. So if you miss one, they can watch Rinpoche on the website.
Yes. Is that correct? Yeah, you always can watch it, no problem. Like Lung, for instance, and some important teaching, you have to be personally present, and then I'm making effort, you are making effort to listen. There's a connection, and that's how you can receive Otherwise, suppose like Loom, and if you listen from the recording, then you may not get it because there's no intention of Guru is present there. It is just a recording, yeah.
Rinpoche, if we are very sick and we know we're about to die, and our breath is gone, actually not breathing, is it still beneficial to recite mental mantra in the mind?
Oh yeah, it will definitely benefit. Not all mantra has to be recited loudly. The mental recitation is called yide. It's a very important part of recitation. So I think if you can think, all the practices that so far we learned, that will definitely help. Like dissolving everything to emptiness, and then you, such as 4 yogas that we learned. This will all help you. All these practices are not just to help this life, but in any eventualities. This will be always meaningful and helpful.
Rinpoche, is chur practice a good practice for death, since it implies the offering of one's body?
Of course, every practice is important. Every practice is important. Not just chur. Every practice is important, is beneficial, are beneficial. So it is beneficial. We're going to learn about chur after maybe I will see. So we will have a discussion also on chur. There will be many different teachings. I will share with you. And Bardo, I think, being an important and urgent one, especially during the time of COVID, we have to be prepared to face. Yeah.
Rinpoche, there's a question about COVID. Is there any practices that can help with COVID?
COVID, I think, is a collective effect of collective karma, and it's also something to do with our karmic effect. So definitely, like medicine Buddha, this will all definitely, all the prayer will help. Definitely, it's not just one prayer. Every prayer will help, but medicine Buddha is particularly for the health. So it is advised to practice.
Then Rinpoche, so we're coming to the end of time. There's so many more questions. What to do, Rinpoche? They should email?
We can go a few more. I think, no
few
problem.
More.
If
Okay.
they are not tired, I'm willing to help.
Yeah. Okay, so we can do some more. Rinpoche, please, can you give just quickly, some quick steps on how to dissolve ourselves at the time of death, on our deathbed? So at the time of death, how do we dissolve ourselves?
How we did. I think during the moment when the death is coming, I think best thing will be to focus on deity, whichever deity or you guru. You can visualize guru or deity, or guru in the form of deity. I think about guru and you die. You can think about Amitabha, Pure Land. I think this will be much more easier than all the dissolving. Maybe you may not have that moment and like courage or time. Maybe it's difficult. Otherwise, what you can do is that yourself as a deity. So everything that dissolve into you dissolve into emptiness, into space. Then you die. Something like that also can be done.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, someone is asking for you to speak about the 100 deities of the Bardo teaching. 100 deities. You know the 100 deities in Bardo Todro? Yeah.
I think I have a book. That's what I've discussed earlier. It's different from what I'm going to discuss this Bardo, But actually, they are the same. There is during the Bardo of Dharmata. First peaceful deities, 49, I think 42. Then all the wrathful deities will appear one after another. That when they appear, it's so fast. It's not just like they are moving in the slow motion, So it's difficult to recognize, yeah. But when we are alive, looking at the pictures, definitely will help and focus on. I think the main focus, I think we should focus on the deity practice, and this Bardo text we will come across stated again and again that to practice illusion, you have to meditate appreciate that practice everything is illusion. Like actually you can use Matamika analogy, like and try to analyze that why things are empty, why it's not and by through all this reasoning, then you are able to convince yourself that everything is empty, and then you can refer to dream or like all this like a reflection of moon in the water. So this all will help you to because when you see your life as an illusion, then you will see the dream as an illusion, and then also you will start to see Bardo as an illusion. So all the fright that you tend to experience will not affect you in any way.
Thank you, Rinpoche. There's a Rinpoche from Facebook. There's a question. If you, when you die and you donate your organs, in your next rebirth, can you still get a perfect human rebirth? Perfect human.
Not to worry, you will be. Yeah.
No.
You will be. But the only thing, I think it's good thing to do. Good thing to do. I think you donate your organs, is it?
Yes, when people donate their organs.
I think it's good. I think it's good thing to do. It's meaningful. We're coming to end.
I think coming to an end, Rinpoche. So thank you so much.
Any more? Anyway, we're going to have a lot of Bardo discussion. So you will hear from me until you are so tired of Bardo.
No.
But actually, we are in Bardo, yeah. So anyway, thank you so much. Yeah, Daniel, that's all.
Yes, Rinpoche. Thank you, Rinpoche.
Okay, see you next week, huh? Thank you. Have a nice weekend.